I hope you enjoyed that video that talks about the wolves and Yellowstone National Park and how the wolves can help to positively affect Yellowstone National Park. Remember that when an animal is introduced into an ecosystem or food web or food chain, it could have positive effects, but it could also have negative effects. That can be something that you think about after this lesson. If an animal is introduced to an ecosystem, how could it negatively affect that ecosystem instead of positively, as it did with the wolf video? What we're going to do right now is we're going to take the last 5 minutes of our lesson and we're going to review everything that we've done together so far today. We have done a lot of learning within these last 60 minutes. So it's going to be our job to try to review this to help you retain that information the best that you can. First of all, let's go over photosynthesis. Remember, way back at the beginning of our lesson, I showed you my plant and what could happen if a plant does not get enough sunlight and water. If you remember, the back of the plant was brown, and I learned my lesson. I have to rotate that plant so that it gets enough sunlight on my windowsill. Let's go over photosynthesis and the important steps that it takes. Your first step here is sunlight, okay? That sunlight is absorbed. That energy gets absorbed into that plant, into the leaves, and the carbon dioxide is going to enter that plant as well. Together, it's going to produce sugar or glucose within that plant, okay? That sugar, with that sunlight, is going to produce this plant and help it to grow. The plant is going to grow and release oxygen into the atmosphere. Why do we need oxygen released into the atmosphere? Well, first of all, we breathe it. Second of all, those plants help us to survive. We eat plants, and the animals eat the plants. So we need photosynthesis. We need that sun to start this process of photosynthesis. Without the sun starting the process of photosynthesis, our plants wouldn't be able to grow and give us the nutrients that we need to grow, the animals as well. Before we flip to the next poster, if you remember, we went over the 4 reasons why animals need energy. Can you think of them? Okay, the poster got a little rip there. All right, so why do the animals need the energy? 4 main reasons. The first one we spoke about was growth, right? They have to grow into that kind of adult animal. Warmth, to regulate their body temperature depending on the environment that they live in. Remember, we discussed polar bears or an animal that might live in the Sahara or the desert. The third reason was movement, okay, so that they could hunt for prey or hide for prey. And our last reason was body repair. Remember, if their bodies get injured, they're going to have to be able to heal themselves within that environment. The last thing we discussed were food chains and food webs. So within this food web, we have multiple food chains, okay? Let's just identify one food chain within this food web. We have corn, gives energy to the grasshopper, gives energy to the frog, gives energy to the python, which gives energy to the eagle. Remember, those arrows are facing the direction where that energy is going so that you can kind of see that energy transfer. Okay, there are several food chains within this food web. The last thing we're going to do is go over some of those important vocabulary words that we learned here today. So let's look at these vocabulary. I'm going to say the word, and then if you could just repeat the word out loud, that would be great. This way you remember it. Okay. Photosynthesis, chloroplast, herbivore, carnivore, food chain, producer, energy, consumer, food web. We'll do that one more time. Photosynthesis, chloroplast, herbivore, carnivore, food chain, producer, energy, consumer, food web. Okay, boys and girls, I just wanted to thank you so much for joining this lesson today, and I hope that you had fun. I hope that you learned something. Again, I'm so proud of you for doing all of your work at home. From my home to yours, stay safe and be well.